bottom. All right. Now, I'm going to do a couple different ones. Grab me the, you got the gold over here? Yes. And then I need the torch too. And I don't know if we got a skewer in here, but a spoon. Would you got me a spoon from over there? Now, when we're casting here, this is going to be poured sugar. It's very important that the bubbles are gone because this will show up quite a bit. So,
Yeah.
that's nice, huh? All right, so let me know when the bubbles are gone.
Chef, what is this technique?
This we're just casting. We're actually casting in a frame. This could be cast in a frame. This is just casting. That's casting in sugar. This is casting in. Now I'll bring silicone also so you can see it. We're gonna cast in silicone, but I have what's called noodles, and you can make a large upright piece if you will. Ken asked on Thursday, what's the height requirement? Okay, let's make it at least a foot tall, so that way it gets. And after that, sky's the limit. Okay, so. If you want to push the envelope and make it 2 foot tall, great. But let's make it a foot tall, all right? And let's try to keep the bases a little bit smaller, okay? Definitely no bigger than this. Anyway, so we're casting in a frame. This can be done in a ring. You can see I got a little ring right here. What I've done is I've oiled. You put a little oil, a little pan spray on the side of the bars and also on the bottom, very small amount, on the edge of the torque ring. All right? All right, let me have your blue. Yeah, it's okay. And hopefully I'm going to have enough to do all three. And again, we're going to wait till all the bubbles are gone. Chef's going to kind of hasten this. And this was 1,000 grams, yeah? Doesn't go far, does it? All right, I should make this smaller. Because I'm not going to have enough. I just want to make enough, get enough so you can see it. Okay. Let's pour it in here. Now the object is to pour it very slowly, if you can. So in other words, it's not a gigantic mold. So that way it has a chance to go to the edges and kind of be cooled off a little bit, because you want to have the edges rounded. If we run out, we'll cook some more and we'll do the other part of the demo. So pour slowly and have that kind of a honey consistency, if you will. And you'll see the kind of the technique that I'm after. Let's just make it that thick. That way I'll have enough for the next one. You can see I got a few bubbles on the top. That's okay. Still got a little bit left. I'm going to make this little mold right here, just to kind of show you the ring, and also the bottom. I want to show you the 2 different bottoms. Remember, this could be any shape you want it to be. And I'm going to take the rest of this. I'm going to add a little bit more to this. Good. Okay. Now you're going to have a long time on this one if you do it on your table, because it takes forever to set up. Now if you've noticed on this one, now everybody turn your sugar down a little bit so that way I've got time to actually finish this demo. You notice I put parchment underneath this silk pack. If you don't, sometimes the silk pack sticks more on a metal table, but it'll actually adhere itself. Then you can't get your piece off. Then you try to lift it up from underneath and you crack your piece. So put a piece of parchment, because you can see that I could easily slide this if I wanted to. So if I wanted to move it off of my work area, Even if it wasn't done, I could slide it on the back of a sheet pan and move it. Okay? Now I got some bubbles here. Torch, low heat. I'm going to take it. I'm just going to get rid of the bubbles. You can see that I can get rid of just about all of them. Okay? They're gone. Now, another technique is, this is a very, very small amount. Oh, you do have one. Good. Very small amount of metallic. This does not mix with water, so don't try to make like gold, you know, looking. So we're going to add just a very, very small amount. You'll see it's a very little amount that we're adding. Okay, and depending on how you add it, how fine, you can use a stiff bristle brush that's cut off and kind of flick it on there. And we're actually going to burn it into the top. I would say it creates kind of like a celestial pattern, if you will. All right. We'll let those bubbles subside for a second. Just wave your torch across it. They'll be gone. Give it a chance to settle down. Okay. All right, I don't see any bubbles. I like it. All right. So this is casting. I don't know what you would call this. Maybe you call it a celestial base or something like that. We're just using metallics, and we're actually cooking the metallic on there. Okay. I'm going to take this. And again, remember what I wanted to do is I wanted everything kind of the same temperature. Use gloves, please. What could I say? Do what Chef says, not what he does or whatever. So, now, unique thing with this, and you want to be careful with the powdered sugar. So if people are working with your sugar, if you're doing pastillage and sugar at the same time, it's not good because the dust from the pastillage and everything will get into your sugar and will cause it to crystallize. The beauty of the Silpat is this, or Exopat. Okay. You can take it with a little quick snap. You can kind of get that together very easily. What temperature are you at? 270. 270? Okay, I tell you what, which one are you doing? What did I tell you we're doing?
The clay and the ice.
Okay, clay, okay. Turn yours off right now, okay? Because we haven't made up any clay or anything, so just turn yours off, okay? All right. This one, I don't need shocked, so we can do that one as soon as it goes to temperature. All right, so what I'm going to do is take this now, and I can let it cool down just a bit more. Not a whole lot more. I'm just putting it over here on the table where it's a little bit cooler, just to get a little bit of the heat out of it. I don't want all the heat out of it, I just want some. Okay. Good. Now we're going to take this. All right, so here's what we do. So you got to watch this here. So we're going to take this, and again, not too much. Put a little in there. Remember, this is extremely hot. Not for the faint of heart. And what we do is we seal this. Okay. This is going to be like, oh, I don't know. This would be like a secondary base, if you will, or it's going to be metallic inside the base. It's going to be encapsulated in here. And how much we pull it, and what we want it to look like. Now I'll take your aluminum foil. Yep. I'm going to get it to where I want it. You don't want to expose the metallic. You want to keep it inside, if you will. Okay. So how far do you take it? Well, I don't know. What kind of look do you want? Okay. So I'm going to take it like this. Now this is not made to cast out, so to speak, like flat. This is made to look three-dimensional. Let me have your pan spray, please.
Oh.
Now, I don't want the aluminum foil left in there, so make sure you get a decent amount of pan spray. Get whatever shape you want. I don't care. If this one sticks, it's only because chef's not taking the time. I'm going to do these demos as quick as I can so you guys can get to doing something. So we'll take it, we'll shape it. You can shape it over anything you want to. You just don't want to leave it in there. Okay? So, let's say we want that. I don't know. Okay? So you can see that this base has some dimension to it. Wherever you want it to be. Okay? Now, to bring back the shine, and try not to expose the metallic too much because it won't allow sugar to adhere to it. But to bring back the shine, I just take it, use my torch, heat it up. So you can see that it gives a really nice effect, a lot of color, variation, variegated if you will. Also gives me dimension. Because it's cast and it's strong, I can go ahead and put a piece on here and support it. It's not delicate at all, okay? But it's a very interesting piece. So in other words, I can give my piece height, dimension to start with, and really get a nice looking base on here. Avoid this. I could actually just pull this more, okay? And I could actually enclose that. So avoid the little metallic that's out.
Chef, you called this a secondary base. Could you use it as a primary base?
You could use it as a primary base. The problem is, it's hard to put feet on this, and I like feet on everything, so that way it's off the table. When you get a hold of it, you get your fingers underneath, and this is going to be irregular for the most part. You know, because you wouldn't want to do this technique. You have this technique, you can't blend it and then flatten it out. I mean, you could do that, but it's kind of redundant. So, okay? I just call it a secondary base because it used to be a requirement. Over at the other thing, I wouldn't make them do certain techniques or whatever. This is one that they had to do. So in other words, it would give them any color. What looks best is if it's a dark color, you know, with a contrast of gold and silver. You can see that there's a really, really nice contrast when it blends in there. Okay, and it's really variegated. I mean, this is nice blue up here. It's green down here. It's got some metallic going on, so it's really, really interesting. Okay, so well, when these cool, I did two different things here. One, I wrinkled the aluminum foil. Now on the quiz, on the PowerPoints, and sometimes the PowerPoints leave you astray, and I want to clarify that. It says that one of the things you can pour it on is aluminum foil, and it'll come off. Yeah, for the most part, you have to be careful. If you wrinkle the aluminum foil, this look, you see that kind of ripple effect inside? The foil is going to stay there. We're going to cut it and trim it so the foil actually stays there, so you can see kind of like a reflection. Somebody did a piece and used the foil as a mirror and poured clear sugar, and they had a mirror in there. Fish was swimming and looking at himself or whatever. But really cute. So this foil is going to stay there. This foil I left smooth. I put a little pan spray in the bottom, and when I take this off, it's going to remove. Okay, so pan spray if you want the foil to remove. You know, kind of crinkle it if you don't want it to remove. It kind of adheres itself to the sugar. Now, the quiz question is going to ask, can you use? They're going to ask like, what different surfaces can you pour sugar out that'll remove? The answer is foil, but it has to be very, very smooth. Yes?
So how come we couldn't just do it on the sill pad? Would that not come off?
You could do that too.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I didn't
but,
know if the
but
tinfoil
when
had
you
to be
do it on a
certain
sill pad, what you got to remember is if I do this on, let's say, a foil, and this was lightly wrinkled because I just smoothed it out, but if you had a nice flat piece of foil, it would be perfectly flat. The sill pad will bring the texture up. It's not bad, it's just, but it'll have a texture on there, so, okay? And then the ideal thing, and I'm going to bring it in, you see that material that's up there around the pin? If you pour that on there, see right next to my notebook there? If you pour that on there, your sugar is perfectly clear and it is perfectly smooth, okay? So that's the material we actually use when we pour it out to get perfectly smooth piece looking, especially if you had an upright back and you wanted it perfectly smooth with no texture on it, that would be something. And we'll show you that technique when I do the noodles. Now, we're gonna